Hello, everyone. Today we will be talking about sensory and play. So we have 8 senses. First, vestibular, which is position and movement of the head in relation to gravity. Proprioception, which is muscle and joint sensation, such as force, pressure, flexion, and extension. Touch, which is response to shape, texture, size, and temperature. Sight, which is brightness and shapes. Hearing, which is loudness and direction. Smell, which is pleasant and unpleasant and dangerous smells. Taste, which is sweet, salty, sour, bitter, umami, such as cheese. And lastly, we have interoception, which may be one you may not have heard of. And it is the ability to understand the body's physical signals that tell you hunger, thirst, pain, temperature, sickness, needing to use the bathroom, and emotional regulation. When playing with your kiddo, your focus should be on the 3 main senses, which are vestibular, proprioception, and tactile. Then, for example, you can eventually make subtle environmental changes with the additional senses in a playful way. Vestibular is the most important sense and plays a role in self-regulation, postural control, body awareness, spatial awareness, and control of the head and eye movements. The vestibular receptors are the most sensitive of all the sense organs. Every jump, spin, and swing have a different effect on the way our vestibular system processes input. The different movements can help jumpstart the development of different senses, such as with speech. Vestibular and proprioception often work together to help children make sense of their world. That is why therapists encourage children with vestibular processing concerns to push, pull, lift, and carry heavy items. These heavy work patterns act to modulate the vestibular input and thereby help to calm and regulate the nervous system. Without a great deal of full body play, the child does not get the kind of sensory input that is necessary to develop the brain as a whole. For our emotions to be balanced, such as staying calm during a stressful situation, the brain must use the input efficiently for regulation. A well-regulated child should look like they are smiling, laughing, engaged in play, calm, and not showing any signs of distress. However, if a child struggles with light touch or unexpected touch, for example, and is bumped by another child during a stressful or novel situation, this may result in dysregulation, which could look like a temper tantrum, fleeing, or hitting a friend. Proprioception and vestibular input help with self-regulation. Heavy work activities or rhythmic, slow, linear swinging can help your child to calm their bodies. Information coming from the vestibular system is processed in the brain, then sent to the different parts of the body in relation to the movement occurring, such as our eyes, joints, or muscles. For example, when we see something move in front of our eyes, our brain must know whether it is the object, our hand, or our whole body that is moving. When a well-organized child begins to fall during play, vestibular and proprioceptive input tells the brain that the body is approaching the ground. And this stimulates the brain to send out messages that extend the arms, which stop the fall and protects the face. Children with poor organization of body and gravity sensations sometimes make no attempt to catch themselves when they fall, and so they often hurt themselves during play. In the previous example, we mentioned spatial awareness. The vestibular system plays a role in spatial awareness by recognizing where our body is in relation to the space around us. Someone who struggles with this may have a hard time knowing how close to stand to other people, which leads to these individuals often offending their friends by standing too close to them. However, this person cannot tell how much room he needs to go around people and often bumps into them. Space perception often improves during therapy involving vestibular-based activities. It is improved during play that involves children beginning to climb and move objects all around to recognize their body in relation to other objects. Try to make play fun with your child and tailored to their interests. These examples provided in this PowerPoint are pirate, animal, or car themed, but this should be tailored to your child's interests. That will make the play experience more engaging. First, we will be discussing vestibular. This could be spinning, swinging, sliding, jumping, crawling, balancing, running, standing on a ladder, laying on your belly, going up and down stairs, bouncing on a trampoline, jumping rope, swimming, or rocking in a rocking chair. However, it is important to know the signs of too much vestibular input, such as yawning, lethargy, clamminess, and nausea. If your child has too much vestibular input, follow with heavy work. Here are tips for parents whose kiddo may underreact to vestibular movements. Try and make time for activities such as swinging, sliding, jumping, and other active movement experiences. Activities that involve fast movement, especially with lots of change of direction, tend to be more alerting by waking our bodies up and providing it with energy. Activities that involve slow, rhythmic movement, such as rocking or swaying, tend to be calming and soothing. Watch your child's responses to movement activities to see which ones tend to get them ready for action and which ones tend to calm them down. Try having your child do some activities such as reading, playing a game, or coloring while laying on their stomach and propping themselves up on their elbows. Encourage activities that require balance, such as skating, bike riding, and kicking. Include bilateral or two-sided activities such as jumping rope, swimming, and playing a musical instrument. Try activities that involve coordination of movement of the eyes, head, and hands, such as target games, catching, and throwing. Here are tips for parents whose kiddo may overreact to vestibular movements. Help your child to gradually engage in activities that may frighten them. For example, if being on a swing frightens your child, first try a swing that allows your child's feet to touch the ground, or hold your child in your lap on a swing. Extra pressure to their muscles to the trunk sometimes helps the child to feel more secure. For example, if your child is fearful when walking upstairs, try holding them at the hips and applying gentle pressure. Gentle back and forth movement is usually easier to tolerate than spinning. Try helping your child to move at the speed and in a direction that is most comfortable for them. Being tilted backward can be especially threatening. Do not attempt this kind of movement with your child until they are ready to tolerate it. Engaging in play and imagination during challenging activities may help to distract a child from the scary aspect of the situation and help them to try new things. Vestibular and play. These are some examples of how you can use vestibular activities during play with your child. For pirate themed, you can use a pillow, cushion, or blanket as their ship and have the ship go over bumps, such as this can be other toys or objects. You can also shake the boat because there is a storm, or spin the ship because they got hit by a big wave. You can also have them balance on a board to act like they are walking the plane. Another example could be animal themed, if your child is interested in animals. For example, the animals are all dirty from playing in the dirt and have to crawl through a tunnel to be cleaned, or they need to be spun to dry off. For car theme, your child could be in a car or using a car, where you could have them drive through a tunnel. If you don't have a tunnel, you can crawl through a fort of pillows with a blanket on top, or down a slide to represent a tunnel for the car. You could also utilize a car wash instead of a tunnel. Next, we'll be discussing proprioception. Proprioceptions are movements that work on jumping, pushing, pulling, climbing, hanging, crashing, forcefulness used during motion, recognizing and grading how much force we are using, body awareness, and motor planning. Tips for parents for proprioception. You may notice that the more your child tries to succeed at a novel activity, the more they fumble and appear to be uncoordinated, and the more frustrated they become. Try to anticipate these situations and give verbal reassurance and physically help your child through the first few times. The senses of touch, position, and movement are all important for helping a child to know where their body is and how to move. Activities that activate these senses will also help your child to plan actions. Activities that incorporate climbing over, under, or through, such as playing on playground climbing structures or building obstacle courses, can help your child to gain understanding of how their body moves. Activities that involve imitation, such as follow the leader or copying the hand and finger movements used with the itsy bitsy spider, can help a child to be able to plan actions. Encourage games that involve simple verbal direction to plan actions, such as Simon Says. Help your child to develop the ability to plan a series of actions, such as identifying and planning the steps for making a sandwich, craft item, or a game. Proprioception and play. These are some examples of how you can use proprioception activities during play with your child. For pirate themed, you can have your child push the boat to shore. This could be a cushion, bin, or a laundry basket, for example. Or you can have them paddle the boat on their own by pushing on the ground to scoot. They could also pull the boat to shore by using a scarf and tying it to a bin or cushion if they are using one. They could even crash into the couch or land and fall overboard. For the animal themed example, you could have them push the bone to your house so no other dogs eat it. You could also dig in lots of pillows and blankets to find a bone or provide deep pressure with pillows to act like you're cleaning the puppy. Then have them jump around or on objects to shake off all the water. This also works on their balance and body awareness. For the car theme, if they are in the car or using a car, you can have them crash into something, or the car has to climb over the hill. You could also work on motor planning by saying there's a tree in the road, or if they crashed into a ditch, what are they going to do next? The last of the three main senses we will be discussing is tactile. Our tactile sensation can be worked through different sizes, shapes, and textures, such as dry, which can be corn, beans, rice, sand, wet, which can be water, slime, paint, shaving cream, or firm, such as Play-Doh. With dry substances, you initially want to start with corn and beans, since they provide proprioceptive input into the hands, such as pressure, which is a calming sensation. Then progress towards rice and sand, which are more of a light touch, which children with tactile concerns may struggle with initially. Tips for parents whose kiddo may overreact to tactile input. Light, ticklish touch is usually more irritating than firm and constant pressure. Using the palm of your hand to touch your child may take less irritating touch than using your fingertips. Firm, consistent pressure tends to override touch sensation that is irritating. Firm massage or gently sandwiching a child between cushions are examples of activities that may help to calm down extra sensitivity to touch. Paying attention to the types of fabrics, clothing, play substances, and social situations, such as walking through a crowded mall, that seem to elicit negative reactions for your child. Until the problem is alleviated, try to avoid these irritating situations, such as letting your child wear clothes made of the fabrics that they prefer, or avoid crowded areas. Try to gradually incorporate a variety of tactile experiences in play, such as eating and bath time. Encourage active, child-directed tactile experiences. Children benefit more from the tactile sensations that they receive through active participation rather than from passively applied sensations. Heavy work activities such as carrying groceries or laundry bags, wearing a heavy backpack, push and pull games, and jumping activities all provide a type of sensation that tends to calm down or organize tactile sensitivity. Tips for parents whose kiddo may underreact to tactile input. Provide more opportunities to touch different textures and talk about how they feel and what they look like. This is a great activity for outside. You can collect nature treasures that feel different, such as the grass, sticks, cement, flowers, bark, leaves, and rocks. Provide messy play opportunities using bins, or if outside, you can use a baby pool, leaf pile, snow, or water play, such as with pouring, squirting, or splashing. Give a fidget toy to explore with their hands while doing a listening activity. If your child cannot listen while using a fidget, then it is not the right fidget. Write shapes, letters, or numbers on a tray with salt, flour, rice, or use small rocks, Lego bricks, beans, or pretzel rods. Draw pictures over sandpaper, concrete, or bricks to fill the bumps. You can even doodle with a vibrating pen. Tactile and play. These are some examples of how you can use tactile activities during play with your child. For pirate themed, you can have them dig through sand, beans, or rice for buried treasure. They could also look in the water for items that fell overboard. Try to use both warm and cold water to work on differentiating between the sensations. They can also fingerprint signs for your boat. For animal themed, you can have them dig in the dirt, rice, or beans for a bone. The bone could also be buried in shaving cream. Try and switch up the textures between dry and wet. If your child does not like the feeling of shaving cream, they can then gradually incorporate it. Have them initially paint the shaving cream on the animals with a paintbrush or a toothpick or a toothbrush. For car themed, if they're in the car or driving a toy car, you can have the car crash because they went through a storm, and you can have them get the things they lost in the sand, dirt, or water. You could say your car is dirty from the storm and needs to be cleaned, which you can clean with shaving cream, then wash in the water. Multi-sensory play is great. You can have your child give an animal a bath in shaving cream, which works on tactile. Then you can have them go on something that spins, which addresses vestibular to wash, which could be spinning them, a swing, or you could wrap them up in a blanket and shake them. Then have them dry off with a towel providing deep pressure, which works on proprioception. In the kitchen, you can have them laying on their stomach on a pillow or a little scooter, which works on vestibular, and then have them slide, where you could pull their legs or have them use their arms to move, or you can even tie a scarf to the object and you hold the scarf while they have to maneuver themselves. These activities work on proprioception. In addition to that, you could have them grab animals out of shaving cream, which works on tactile, or instead of shaving cream, you can have them save animals out of the tactile bin, such as with sand. Lastly, you can do an obstacle course inside by crawling under a pillow fort or crawling over an uneven surface. Then jump on spaced out pillows or jump over the pillows. These activities work on both vestibular and proprioceptive input. Next, we will be discussing the environmental modifications you can make, for example, for sight, hearing, and smell. For sight, you can have the pirate wear pirate glasses or an eye patch if in a bright area, play I Spy for buried treasure or for spotting land, or having different colored flashcards as different snack options. For hearing, you can decrease the amount of auditory load, such as turning off the TV or the radio. If play is in a noisier environment and your child becomes dysregulated, such as with covering their ears, you can utilize headphones. For smell, you can have candles burning in the background or spraying different aromas in the air before or during play. Here are some additional activities you can try and play and add some fun play schemes while playing with them. For vestibular, you can do an obstacle course. You can break out some chairs, pillows, and some painter's tape for a fun indoor course, or a ladder, rope, and chalk for a fun outdoor course. Try and get moving over, under, side to side, jumping, or walking on a single line. For proprioception, you can do a tape floor hopscotch using chalk outside or painter's tape on the floor inside. You could also pull supplies or friends in a wheelbarrow. For tactile, you can do slime. You can make homemade slime by having your child help to pour, mix, and make the materials with their hands, which can work on bilateral coordination. After, you can have them find sea creatures or other small objects of any kind in the slime. Other examples of things you can add in are little shapes cut out of foam, googly eyeballs, or have the child pull out alphabet letters in the correct order or create a face in the slime. You can also play in a water table. This can be created by using an empty storage bin. You can also add a few balls of different size, shape, and density. Think of golf balls versus rubber and hollow balls. You can add in measuring cups, a strainer, small boats, or trucks. You can also play in more of a dry texture table by replacing water with dirt, sand, rice, beans, or corn, and add in some animals, beads, coins, and bury them in the sand. For sight, you can create a calming sensory bottle. To make one, fill a used, clean, and dry plastic water bottle with any small objects that would work well, moving around in water. Some favorites are glitter, confetti, beads, small alphabet letters, buttons, and pom-poms. Then fill to the top with water. Adding a few drops of food coloring gives another fun dimension to the sensory bottle. You can also play memory games or I Spy to work on sight. For hearing, you can play hot and cold, but with drums for how close to the treasure they are coming to, or playing Marco Polo. You can also create homemade music, such as creating shakers with an empty plastic food container and some rice and beans. You can create a straw flute with some straws, scissors, and tape, and a guitar with an empty cereal box and some rubber bands, or even a homemade drum kit with some upside-down pots and pans and a wooden spoon. For smell, you can have your child participate in cooking by getting them involved in the ingredients used to make foods in the different scents. Have your child participate in cooking by getting them involved in the ingredients used to make foods in the different scents. You can make fake treats for a pirate by using scented Play-Doh or use scented markers to draw them out to find treasure. For taste, you can cook noodles soaked in food coloring, which they can be snakes or used to build. You can also make edible Play-Doh and build things. You can also create a bonfire by having Jello or pudding as the fire, then pretzels as logs, and roast marshmallows in the bonfire. You can also play Guess the Taste. Another activity you can do with it is rounding up foods such as sweet, like honey, sour, such as lemon, salty, which could be a pretzel, bitter, which could be broccoli or cranberries, and umami, which could be cheese. This can be incorporated into play by turn taking with stuffed animals or members of the pirate crew for participation in the activity. This may take some time if your child is over-responsive to certain foods. You can first try looking at it, cutting it with a utensil, smelling, touching, and then finally tasting. For interoception, you can work on things such as kids' version of yoga, which focuses on listening to your body. Also, providing good vestibular and proprioceptive input is helpful for interoception. It encourages children to slow down, pay attention to the present, and how their body is feeling. Social stories are also a great way to talk about concepts that may be hard for a child to understand. For example, this can be helpful for toilet training, temperature regulation, such as where to wear a coat or shoes, and feeling hungry or thirsty. Providing visual prompts and cues can be very helpful. This includes prompts for using the bathroom, how often to get drinks, when it is time to eat, or needing a coat for outside. You can also use a visual schedule around the house for common tasks or reminders. Here are the resources, and here are some additional resources you guys can look at if you would like. Thank you for your time.